Coming to you live from the palatial studios of PBJ Productions. Welcome to Patrick and BJ Talk Real Estate, where we talk about life, the universe, and everything as it relates to real estate. Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back with Patrick and BJ Talk Real Estate. And today, we have a great opportunity. We've talked about how we're doing more things on the podcast about talking about people's success stories and how we've talked about starting businesses. We've talked about, opening salons and all these different things. And today we have a great opportunity that we get to spend some time with Devon and talk about his family and how they were in their home. But there's a great story about how we got here. So
yeah, can't wait to ask you questions, find out obstacles that you might have come across, and the challenges to get to the place that you are now.
Sounds good.
So welcome to the podcast, Devon.
Thank you so much.
Nice to be here. Thank you for allowing us to come into your home and hang out with you. So I guess the first question is maybe help us understand, or for people to understand, I know the situation, the circumstance that you suddenly find yourself in, that you guys were renting.
Yep.
And now suddenly what happens?
Right. So basically approximately 2 years ago, my family and I moved to Duncan. We found a nice place to rent. Things were going great. But then suddenly two small bombs landed in my lap. The first one was that our landlord had said that he was thinking about moving back into the place with his girlfriend. And the other one was that we got a noise complaint about our, at the time, 3-year-old son, which made us quite nervous because we didn't know what our rights were as tenants.
Sure.
So we started discussing it, and we looked at other opportunities for renting. In Duncan, there's not a lot. So that's when my wife and I started really getting serious about the idea of finding a place of our own where we could own and feel more secure, knowing that this is our place and that it's something that we can have for the future.
Right. And nobody can come and tell you.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right.
You can't do this or you can't do that.
Exactly.
Or that's too noisy.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
That must have been a tough day getting the news from the landlord. Oh, hey, by the way, we're thinking about moving back in, or was it like, no, we're going to be moving in now?
So what it was actually, he started it as like a soft conversation. He started putting in hints that he was thinking about moving back in, and he was very subtle about it at first, and then over time those hints got a little more forthcoming and a little bit stronger, and again. We were fine with that. We didn't mind the idea. Right. But looking at the rental market in Duncan, everywhere else was just so far out of our price range, and there were so many limitations. Like whenever we did find someplace nice, it always turned out to be a 55 plus kind of condo or building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we were really limited, and it started putting a lot of stress, especially on my wife and her parents, about where we could possibly live if the landlord decided to pull the trigger on moving back into his place.
And the idea would be to stay in Duncan, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Well, that's where my wife's got her job, and that's where I've got my job. We both moved here from Calgary because of new jobs that we were offered here.
Oh,
that's
nice.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So now, when you get the information, what's the first thing? Is it do you contact the bank to find out what's happening with the mortgage, or how does that process look for you guys?
Oh, so when we decided that we wanted to actually purchase a place, the first thing that we did is we contacted the bank, somebody who specialized in mortgages, and they took a look at our finances. They took a look at our current earnings, and with that information, they decided how much house we could afford, and gave us options on what kind of mortgages we could be looking at for places to move in.
Were you thinking about that before the landlord sort of gave you?
You know what?
The hint
absolutely
that,
not.
We might kick you out.
No, until I'm in my 40s now, and I've always just rented. I've always just rented, and I never thought that I could be a homeowner. I always just felt like the easiest thing to do would be just rent, and then if circumstances change, you just move to another place and rent another place. I always liked the idea of the flexibility it gave me.
Yeah, if a
But,
job
yeah.
offer is somewhere else, or you
Right.
change your mind where you want to
Exactly.
live, that makes it. Yeah, I
But
understand that.
but for the first time, I'd gotten that scare about, oh, a landlord might want to take their property back, or people in the community could you know, socially kind of encourage you to not live in that community anymore, like with the noise complaint we got with our son. And
Right.
we became really stressed about that. So we
Sure.
thought now might be the time to actually looking at owning our own place.
Right.
Yeah, it gives you obviously more control
Absolutely.
over that, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's. I know that's just part of reality, right? Like if you're raising a family and you have young kids, there's going to be noise there, right? If it doesn't matter if you're a homeowner or a tenant. So yeah, that's a kind of a surprising thing. So you get the news. At some point, there's a shift from looking for a property to rent to, hey, what if I buy something? What sort of made that trigger point where, wait a minute, this might actually work?
It was again. It was the discussion with the people at the bank, because like I said, we didn't realize that we were actually earning enough money that we could afford a house. We knew that we had a decent amount of savings that we could put down a deposit,
Yeah.
right? That first time payment. We knew we could do that, but we didn't know if the bank would support us for like paying mortgages and continuing payments and whatnot. So when
Yeah.
the banker talked to us, we were like, for the first time, oh yeah, absolutely, we can do this. He made it seem real, and once it seemed real, we went with it. We were all in.
That must be a pretty exciting moment there.
We were
sitting
very
there
excited.
in the office.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. With your income, you have some savings. At least you have savings,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Where a lot of Canadians, where the stat is something like we're spending 110% of what we earn, right? And many Canadians are in debt in some way.
That's right.
So that's pretty amazing that you've been on it without even thinking about
Yeah,
it. Like
absolutely.
having like a reserve fund.
That's right. That's
Having
one of the
savings.
ways that we've always been a little bit privileged, is that we've always managed to keep our expenses low. We don't drive. We take public transportation. We spend only what's within our means, and we've always been building that kind of nest egg for an emergency. And this became kind of an emergency to us, and it gave us that ability to go in.
Yeah.
When did that start happening?
Well, my wife and I married in 2006, and she's always been really interested in saving for a rainy day. She's a whiz with the
she's
finances.
the frugal one?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so here's a question: Did you just not think it was a possibility, the owning of a home, even though you had, you guys had put this money aside? You just never thought that it could happen. Is that kind of the way it was?
Well, what happens is, if you go online, you read article after article after article about how home ownership is more out of reach than ever before. And that's kind of where we started to feel like, oh, it must not be possible if
Right.
everybody is saying it's not possible. So we for the most part, we just put it right out of our minds. Like I said, we were comfortable with the idea of renting. And then suddenly, because we were put in that position in this small town where you can't just move to another unit that you can rent, we suddenly, it surprised us. And like I said, my wife and I, we talked about it. We went to the bank. They recognized, one of the bankers recommended you, and we went from there.
Right. It's an interesting thing. We've talked about this on our podcast, that we address things sometimes on our podcast that's the opposite of what people are seeing on the internet or on different websites and things like that. What is that like when the realization comes in that, wait a minute, all this stuff that we've been reading or seeing, it's the truth is really the opposite here for us.
Like we were, like I said, we were surprised, and we felt like kids again, because it was so much fun to jump on like real estate websites and look at what was out there and start visiting different properties and start creating like our wish list of what we wanted.
Right.
It became, for us, it actually became a lot of fun. like as soon as we knew that we could actually do this,
Right.
that we could make this happen, we daily would check the websites and look at the offers that were out there, and we would go visit the properties,
Sure.
and we enjoyed it. We enjoyed that process.
You're like kids in a candy
No,
store,
it was
right?
absolutely like that. Even when we went to a place that we decided wasn't for us, the experience was just fun. Just being able to walk into a property and imagine our lives living in that.
Could this
that's
be the
right.
one?
Like,
Right.
are we these people or are we these people? And what about this neighborhood? And how would we build a life if we lived here? And what are the schools like and shopping? It
That's
was
so cool.
No, we really enjoyed that process. We really did.
Sometimes I forget, like when I went to go, like not go, but a long time ago looking for a home. So this totally brings back memories.
Yeah, no,
Right?
we
Of
looking
looking for that first condo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty incredible that you identified what the headlines are. You know, and for the longest time, not thinking that's even possible.
Yeah,
Right.
we didn't. We thought it was so impossible that we completely put it out of our mind until we were almost forced into readdressing it. Like,
How many people miss that?
Right. And
Yeah.
and it's like you got in a position where it was no longer comfortable to be in that position.
Absolutely correct. That's right.
Right. So,
We learned again at a later stage in our lives that when we were renting, other people had power over us. They could tell us if we could live in a place, and they could tell us if it was going to be convenient for our son to be in the community. And once we looked into things like the rights that other tenants had about our child's noise levels, we didn't like what we saw. We wanted to be able to have our own place, know that our kid could be himself, express himself,
Right.
and that this would be ours, and we were the ones in control.
Let's take it here. So you've been living here for about 2 years now?
Yep, that's about right. Yep.
What made it? What was the deciding factor for this place when you're looking at places with BJ that this one screamed to you?
So a couple of the things that we really liked was that it's again, I mentioned that we don't drive. So this place, one, was relatively close to a school that we were really interested in for our son. Two, we liked that it was a kind of a closed community setting. The area that we're in right now, it's
you come on purpose.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
We liked everything about the setting. We liked everything about living closer to this river and the greenery that's behind us. We liked that it's not a high traffic area. We liked that our son would be able to play outside and that we could trust that he would be safer. We liked the price point of the property. And we just liked the look of the place. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, two floors. It was everything that our family needed.
Nice.
Yeah. No, we really felt comfortable the first time we came and saw this property.
And what? Now let's talk about the process a little bit. You mentioned how much you guys enjoyed looking at the homes and everything.
Yep.
Was there ever you looked and you were like, oh my goodness, where are we going? Are we going to find the right place? What did that ever happen?
So I think we got lucky again because we enjoyed the looking so much.
The process.
Right.
The process of
Right.
it. Like we genuinely liked that.
Right.
Every time we went to look at a new place, it was that kind of rush of excitement, almost like a first date with somebody where you just like, oh, how's it going to work out? Are we going to have chemistry?
Right.
It's been a long time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But it was like it was just exciting each time to go to a new place. And like I said, the first few properties were not a match. They didn't fit, but it was still fun to see them. And then we found this place, and it met all of our criteria. We really enjoyed it. I think the only downside was there was just always that small concern that because it's a smaller town, that we wouldn't have as many options available.
Yeah.
So
in a certain price
that's
point.
right,
Yeah,
within that price point. So we did have to wait between offerings. So there was always a little concern, like, oh, how long will it take to find something that we want?
Right.
But again, we got very lucky because it was only a matter of, I think, a month or two.
Oh wow!
Sure.
Especially
It happened
when
so
like
quick.
if
Yeah.
your landlord is saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about. Oh, I actually want to move in. You guys need to get out."
That's right.
You're
Yeah.
getting a formal notice.
Yeah.
You're on a deadline now.
That's right. So
So
we
that's quite amazing.
yeah, like I said, I think maybe 2 or 3 months before we locked something down, and then they told us the move-in date, and then we got told again that we could move in a month even earlier. So everything, we got very lucky. Everything just kind of worked out in our favor, and we were able to move into our home quite quickly.
How many properties did you end up looking at? Do you remember?
About 4 or 5, do you think?
4 or
I
5?
think we
Oh,
did a little bit more than that even. The one the one I remember out of all of it is we looked at one property and Devon was the one who came because it didn't work out for everybody else. Pouring rain, and so we looked in this place, and like Devon said, he's walking, right?
Yeah.
So pouring rain.
Yeah.
So we go through the property, and I was like, "Oh, you can't walk in the rain. Come on, I'll give you a ride."
Yeah.
But the one thing you guys can't tell on here is Devon is a really tall guy, and so what we found out is he can't fit in my car.
Not at all. Nope. Couldn't get into the car. It was too tall.
So we had but I think we probably were like somewhere around 6 properties or something.
Yeah.
Somewhere in
That sounds about right.
somewhere in
Yeah.
that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But
You know what? That's really good.
Yeah.
Like thinking that like you probably narrowed down what your needs are very quickly to only go through about 6 properties and locations. Maybe there wasn't that many available to look at.
Yeah.
But to be able to make a decision within that many properties, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Right? For people to figure that out.
Right.
Not just we need some wants over needs. So that
I think that was the
pretty
one thing I
amazing.
would say too is you guys knew this is what we want.
Yep.
This is where we want to be because we had our searches limited to a
Very
certain
specific,
area.
I think it was we literally said that it had to be a search perimeter of within 15 minutes of walking distance to where I work.
Yeah.
So we really pared it down to what would be available, and again we got it. We got lucky.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on that? I've got one more.
Oh, you go ahead. I was there, so I.
What's it now that you've been a homeowner? What's it like compared to being a tenant?
I
know you talked about security.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're actually not paying so much more for the mortgage.
A little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Okay.
So not financially that different, but we feel like we're now putting down roots in a community. We genuinely feel more interested in talking with our neighbors because they're no longer temporary neighbors.
Sure.
These are the people that we may spend the next 10, 15, 20 years with.
Right.
We loved that we were able to play outside right in the front door with our son. He's as loud as he wants to be. There are other kids in the neighborhood. He plays with them. He calls them his friends. It's been great. It's
awesome.
been really great. It feels like a home in a way that no other rental place has ever felt like.
It's good. It's good. Well, you know what? I know we've gone a little bit longer today than we normally do, but thank you again, Devon, for allowing us to come into your home, and thank you for sharing with us the experience and what it's been like on both sides of the experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Devon. That's
we're
perfect.
happy to.
It inspires me as well. Like I just love hearing these stories from people, right? So thank you so much for that and joining us on our podcast.
It's been nice having you. Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for watching. If you haven't, please take a minute and subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps us with getting the word out, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, catch us in the next video. Take care.
See ya.